Hello everybody, one of my videos, MJG Games. Today with a games pickup video. Okay, so I used to do these sort of videos fairly often. I was doing them pretty much once every single month, but now it's just on and off. But this will be the final one we do for a while. But it's a bit of a mixed bag, which is what I bought over the last 2 or 3 months or so. Okay, we start off with the mighty Amiga. This is a game amazingly, to this day, I still haven't tried. This is Trolls, based on Trolls. Took me a while to realise it was done by the same team that did Oscars. In fact, it plays pretty much in the same fashion. But as I've said in previous pickup videos, I'm not going to be in the back of the box, it's at the game to the toolkit, but all games we'll try out. Right, there we go. I'm not going to spend too long on each game, we're not going to get through, but this is Trolls. Also received an MJG version as well as a C64 release, but of course well known to have a different soundtrack. But this is on 1200. The game is Trolls, a troll doll themed platform game, developed and published by Flare Software for the Amiga in 1902, as well as MS-DOS, Commodore 64 and CD32, which came out in 1993 with a full game soundtrack. The DOS port, compared to the original Amiga release, lacks some backgrounds, graphics and voices, but contains music in-game, and also enemies were easy to dispatch. And that was one of the problems with Oscars. As much as I like Oscars, it's very difficult. Your jumping was quite difficult, and you don't have many skills at the start. But like in Oscars, you've got to try and find a certain quantity of items, which in this one is baby trolls. Now, pretty much the items you get in Oscars are pretty much done here as well, but the most important item you want to try and get is the yo-yo, which is good for dispatching enemies, also for breaking certain walls. On some levels you have to, but if you die with the yo-yo, you do lose it. But like in Oscars, you basically hit these canisters, which throws the item into the air, and you've got to try and catch it. It's done here as well, but this time it's balloons. You hit the balloon flows up into the air, turns into an item, and you catch it with your points. And they don't actually earn that many points in this game. But you've got to try and find a certain quantity of baby trolls, and then find the pig stop, not the clapperboard in Oscars. But yeah, it's always difficult to try and kill enemies, certainly in close space, but once you've got the yo-yo, which is very limited, and even that, it takes quite some hits to kill enemies with. It is an easier game, but it's very easy to lose it, because jumping was never ever great in Oscars. It's not great here either, but I've always liked the art style to this. It's superb. But the music you're listening to is not what I'm hearing. Basically, I've added it in during the editing stages. So we've got now, at the moment of time, 3 lives located in the bottom left corner, and we've got to try and find... Well, we've got to 8 so far. 8 baby trolls. We've got to try and find 19, then find the exit. But we do need some energy. And like in Oscars also, you can actually go to the bonus round. It all depends if you're spelling the word bonus or the word bogus. So basically the energy can be changed. So if you're going for the bogus words, yes, it is still a good way of getting a more decent score. We can be killed there. I don't know about the bonus though, but unfortunately there is actually a time limit in the bonus areas. Which I think is more meaner depending on which one you go to. But now that you break through the floor, or walls we say, now we have the yo-yo. But if you pick up an item, for example, the high jump, yes, your hair colour will change. It will change depending on which item you've got. If you have the yo-yo, you pick up something else, it will just substitute that to that. And some levels you desperately need the yo-yo, so you don't want to lose it in areas you desperately need it, because some areas you need to break those walls. And it is possible also to swing with it. You can use it in multiple directions, but even if you have that, or just using the jumping skill, it takes quite a lot of hits to kill any enemies. But this is basically Toy Area 1. Each area is broken down into smaller levels. Of course, each level you've got to try and find a certain quantity of trolls, or baby trolls. 19, so we've got the word bonus, we need 1 more baby troll to go and find the exit. Now in Oscars again, it will tell you when you've got the required quantity you need. But this one it doesn't. You can go for more to score. So we've got 19, and yes, we'll go to the bonus round when we get there. It's very easy to fall to the bottomless pit. This game's not short on those. Alright, the car, you can blow up the car. It takes a lot of hits. They always do. Another one. Jump on the caterpillar. But yeah, most of the score is earned in between levels. Whatever you pick up, you can put it into points. There we go, fantastic. Go to the bonus rounds. So there we go, this is where you earn most of your score. Food bonus, treasure bonus, and points bonus. Okay, we arrive at the bonus stage. But unfortunately up there is a bar. a time bar which drains very quickly. And I don't know if it goes to extreme of killing you, but it will fail if it runs down. Use this time wisely to try and get more additional items. You've got to try and find the elephant, which is basically the exit. And the elephant that features in every other level, like in Oscars also, is basically a checkpoint. It remembers your location. If you die at any point, you resume play it there. So basically it's a checkpoint. Every time you find another item, your hair will change colour, depending on what you pick up, of course. Now, yellow is speed, red is shield, blue is a higher jump, white is wings, green is beer, and black slows you down. New format gives the game 82% rating. To open the last door, you must complete all the 7 worlds with 4 levels. The worlds are Toyland, Media Land, Soda Pop, Fairground, Fable Land, Board Game, and Candy Lands. And there is our exit. Didn't find anything, didn't do anything, but we earned some more score there. And we kept our lives going. One of which though, that is Trolls. Next one on the list is also on Amiga, also bought from the same seller on the same day. This is a game I still to this day have never played, but I do like the art style. This is Treasure Trap by Electronic Zoo. So this one's going to be a blind attempt, but yeah, this one, a swirling whirlpool of arcade action, a treasure chest of bewildering puzzles. Sounds good to me. Give it a try. Right, there we go. Love the intro, love the title screen. Also, it sounds very much like Impossible. This is a game I know very little about. Never had a demo, never even recall seeing it in a magazine. Treasure Trap, Electronic Zoo. Okay, this game is Treasure Trap, an isometric puzzle game directed by Emerald Software and a Doodlebug design, and published by Electronic Zoo for MS-DOS, Amiga, and Atari ST in 1990. In 1829, the Esmeralda, a cargo ship carrying gold, sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And in 1927, a treasure hunter called Howard Kelp dons a diving suit and searches for the bullion of the wreck. And it's very difficult to read at the same time I'm doing it, but it's great. Like I say, I love its art style. But basically, you've got to try and find a certain quantity of gold. Now, it very much plays, or should we say, it performs similar to Head Over Heels. Now, a character, of course, being at the bottom of the ocean is going to be very slow. We don't technically have any weapons. The only thing we do have in our possession, which is limited to, is basically smart fishes, which are located at the bottom left corner of the screen, where we have our current keys. You're only limited to 3 items in your possession. Now basically, you press the S button on your keyboard to use one of your smart fishes, which is basically a trained piranha. What they do is they basically search the room, and apparently there are 100 rooms in this game. They kill any enemies that are harmful to you. But every time you find 80 blocks of gold, you can get 1 more smart fish. Now, you are limited to 3 items, and those are going to be, majority of the time, I assume, keys. Now, once you've got the key to open the door, the icon that would have originally been on the door is not there. If it's a door you can't open, there will be a key symbol above the door, which tells you that that's the door you can't go into. But we do actually have, of course, in a game like this, a limited air supply. So you've got to try and top up that by finding air tanks. Right, now what we can do is here, now these are deadly, everything is deadly. You're going to use the S key, and what it does is that it uses one of our smart fish. So I think it's limited in time. It will search whatever enemies in this room can kill you, and it will dispatch them, it will basically eat them alive. I don't think it will do all of them because it's limited in time, but that will certainly make it a bit more easier. But at the moment in time, we're just jumping from crate to crate. But now we can walk onto the floor, and that reward us with more additional gold. Like I say, it really does look good. The attention to detail is amazing here, but 5 lives is very generous. Right, so there is another key. So basically there, right there, are our keys. That is our 3rd one. And to pick up an item, you have to press D. So D to pick up an item, and S is to use a fish. So we're not going to kill enemies in the early stage. You know I've already done it, but that basically saves them for later on. It's more difficult levels that lay ahead. Now basically, if you make a mistake when it comes to pushing an item, which is very easily done, if you leave the room and return to it, it should go back to where it was before you pushed it. So we put it on there, and we're going to try and jump on low platform, and you can also change direction in the air. I didn't know you could do that. You can actually change your direction in the air. So that is now one done. So 21 now, and we've still got 1 smart fish and 3 keys. But you press fire to jump. I mean, yes, you're in the air for quite some time. Right, now these crates here, every time you make contact with one, a crate will be taken away. Now basically, there's a mine in there, which will basically, it will follow your location. So you eliminate one of them by pressing into it, then pushing this one into it, and then using that as a stepping stone to try and get 3 more. Bring a grand total to 24. Right, 1 life has already been lost. I tried jumping in there to collect up the gold and get out of there, but I'm going to use my final fish to consume these jellyfish. These graceful swimmers look pretty harmless, but their tentacles are packed with a dangerous poison. They usually move up and down, but on occasion they can hover right above your head to prevent you from jumping. Jellyfish that are moving straight up and down cast a shadow that can be useful to determine their positioning and avoiding their touch. Shouldn't be any concern now, but basically once the fish consume the final enemy on that screen, they'll be taken away. So now picking up the gold ain't so much of a big deal. And every time you go into a room, there'll be an M that appears in the top left. And when the M is on screen, then you actually use the map screen. So this is our map screen. Press M to see the bird's eye view of the Ebsel Railroad. And every time you go into a room you haven't seen before, the square is then put in place. And you get a brief snippet of that room. Right, there's so many enemies. Jellyfish and electric eels. These look like green snakes, but these slender amphibians can shock the life out of you. They're faster than most of the swimming creatures in the game, you'll see, but they also swim in a straight line and are easy to avoid. And also, there, when that G is flashing, that tells you there's actually some gold in the room that hasn't been picked up yet. So once you've found it, then it will stop flashing. So as you can see, there are 2 on the table, and we have also got some air, which as you can see is very much needed. Jump onto the table, and you can push the table, anything like a chair or a table or a block, most things can be pushed. So there, 41. But you earn another smart fish when you reach 80. Okay, next one on Amiga. This is a game I have played before. In fact, I streamed it about 3 or 4 years ago, and I just tend to call it the Viking Child, but it's the Viking Child Prophecy 1 or Prophecy 1 the Viking Child. Either way, it's a good game, but unfortunately it does have a time limit. I think the furthest I reached was level 3, but when I played it on stream, it was level 2, I believe, but we'll give it a try.
Bring me the Viking Child.
Right, there we go. I have to admit, not played it for a number of years, might be a bit rusty, but we'll see what we do today. Viking Child, start game, enter code, or view my scores. Okay, so the game is Viking Child, an action video game released by MJG Design Limited for Atari ST, Amiga, Atari Lynx, Game Boy, and MS-DOS in 1991. The Atari ST original was programmed by Mark Fisher-With and graphics done by Anthony Rossbottom and music done by Barry Leach and Ian Howe. Ports of Game Gear, Master System, and Commentary 4 were cancelled, and a planned sequel, Viking Child 2, was not released. The game is based on the Viking Child called Brian and must enter the Hall of Valhalla to battle against the evil god Loki and his minions. For anyone to read, at the same time doing it once again. The game is fantastic. I've played it for a number of years, but the furthest I've reached was level 3. But like many games, you do start off with the basics, but this one we do have swords. But it's very much inspired by Wonder Boy in Wonderland, which is a very good game. I've played quite a lot of versions, but not finished it on the Amiga. And I haven't finished one either, but like in Wonder Boy, you have to buy items by spending money and cash and going to the shop. And in this game, it's got quite a few shops, but at the moment of time, yes, the border of the bottom is absolutely gigantic. All we have is our basic swords. But yeah, run under 1200, it's running a little bit faster than it should do, but we're taking quite a pounding. But yeah, we do have an evil hourglass time limit, and we do have a very generous energy bar. We can buy more health in the shop. Press enter to go into the shop. Okay, we arrive in the shop. Now, trying to read at the same time means I'm going to have to buy some energy, but we do actually have bosses in this game. I'm going to use the fire sprites. The game closely resembles Sega's Wonder Boy in Monsterland, as certain elements like collecting coins being hidden, upgrading the characters' weapons, and the visiting shops are practically identical, despite differences in release times. The game features no save game feature, however passwords can be earned and allowed to allow access to later levels. Yes, she approves. So we're going to buy some hearts. In fact, it's actually might run in my favour. It's going to be absolutely maxed out. Unfortunately, we can't buy any more additional time. It might look like we have got quite a lot of time, but it can go very quickly. Yes. Right, we're done here. Okay, when you turn back to the video, you press the space bar to select what weapon you want in your inventory, which is the only one I've got in my inventory, which is the fire sprite. This This is the most effective weapon when battling against more than one adversary or an enemy that is triggered to catch. This can be released any time when an unfriendly creature is nearby which homes in on them. Which is basically quite similar to that. I said in the boss battles, but yeah, to fire one you press down. But unfortunately enemies will respawn in this game quite a lot actually, and very quickly, which is not really a bad thing if you think about it, because of course buying things in the shop you need quite a lot of money. So if enemies can respawn, and there also are secrets in the air, any additional money you can find is certainly going to help with that. But yeah, they're really fast, but it is running under 1200, but still, the occasional enemy will get past your fast attacks. But you also get the bombs, the bolas, the stuns, and the potions. But yeah, not all of them I've seen. I have seen the cloak, which basically makes you invincible for about 25 seconds. The speed doubles your speed. The glide makes you double your jump, also for a limited amount of time. The bombs, the bolas, the stuns, and the potions, and also the stuns, which also is apparently quite effective. I think kills all enemies on the screen. That or the potions, one or two. But he's having a bit of a rough day, so you can be feeling this in the morning. But the animations are good. Right, so yeah, the hourglass does run out very quickly. It also does affect your energy quite significantly. Right, where more that came from? That is basically the fire sprites. So we've now got 10. I mean, what's quite expensive? Every weapon pretty much is in this game. Apart from health. Health is 10. Apparently there is also another item which I haven't seen, which does fill up your energy to the maximum. You would imagine a high price, you expect that. Because of really nice features. Enemies on the top, kill those. Use a short range dagger, which apparently you can also get a long range sword later in the game. That I haven't seen. That will also be quite pricey, I imagine. But anyway, energy's not good, but we're going to go for the door. Right, boss battle. And again, this game, the music is very similar to the sound of Impossible, which is no surprise really being Barry Leach. But yeah, this boss is difficult to do with just a short range dagger. Why I tend to go for the fire sprites. It homes in on its occasion, it's very strong, and like in Wonder Boy's fashion once again, you've got to try and pick up the diamonds and coins, pick up the key, and it leaves the room. So jump over the key and pick up the final coin, then we leave the room. And you are given a little bit more additional health back. Okay, so once you defeat the boss, you gain the key, and we head over to the right side of the village where there's a door, a locked door, which takes you to level 2, which takes place in the castle. Which is a difficult stage, but I have got past it, but the furthest I've reached is level 3. But there's still so much in this game I haven't seen. I mean, I haven't seen many of the weapons, I haven't seen the glide, and I haven't seen the speed, but this is running far too fast anyway. We don't want your character to be even faster than that. But the potions, I think, is one of the most effective, and also I think one of the most expensive. Apparently kills all enemies on the screen. Which here isn't too bad, but anything you kill, of course, will give you more additional money. It's always handy. Moment of time, we've got 450, but yeah, I think that hourglass actually run down maybe once or twice already, but that takes you to the exit, and that's more footage, that is the Viking Child. Okay, next one on the list is also an Amiga, also the most expensive one on this list. I've always wanted a big box version of Ghouls and Ghosts. Of course, I have got Ghouls and Ghosts which I bought back in the day, but these sort of boxes tend to fall over on your shelf. The first version I played was actually on the C64, that was part of a compilation, but absolutely delighted with that. It was going for absolute silly money on eBay, so I decided to make an offer. Seller accepted, and also it's sealed. I'm not convinced it's the original seal. It might well be, it might not be, don't know. But it has got an original price tag on here of $43.95. This is quite a lot for those days. In fact, that is dollars. So this game has been around the world in previous times, but we'll give it a try. Right, there we go. One of my favourites of Tim Foley's music. This one is superb. Unfortunately, there's no additional sound effects. We did finish it back in the day, but nowadays, not so much. But the quick go back to copyright 1988 Capcom. Okay, so the game is Ghouls and Ghosts. It's a 1988 platform game, developed published by Capcom for arcade. It's a sequel to 1985's Ghosts and Goblins and the second game in the Ghosts and Goblins series, which was a commercial success, becoming the 8th highest grossing arcade game in 1989 in Japan. Also, could it be claimed with the Sega Mega Drive Genesis version winning 4 awards from Electronic Gaming Monthly in 1989, including Best Game of the Year. And it is a good game, it's a good version, but not many people liked it, but I can see why people didn't like it. It has got quite a lot of problems. Its biggest problem is the hit detection and the fact that enemies respawn all the time, but I think all versions do that. If I had the ability to change one thing, I mean, it would be nice to have some sound effects, but the music from Tim Foley makes up for that. But if I could change one thing, it would be more armour more often. Of course, there are some secrets. Some involve you jumping through the air at specific points, and it will appear beneath your feet. And so many enemies will respawn underneath your feet. But if you had more armour, That would make it a bit more easier, but there's no such thing as an easy Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins game. But this one I have finished back in the day. In fact, it was a back-to-back completion. I had to use continues. It wasn't that good, but it's very, very difficult. I think you're limited to 3 continues. But you can also earn more lives along the way. I'm going to pick that one out. That's fairly good. I don't know what it is. Some sort of frisbee with 4 blades on each end, but you can throw it in the air. Right, go through the guillotine, and there should be a checkpoint around here, and of course a boss battle at the end of each one. At the moment of time, you had to have an even time in it, it's always there, but it can extend, I think. In fact, it just did. We have got 3 lives. But this area here is why I lose so much time. It's due to these. These are basically poisonous flowers. A demon plant that moves along the ground that shoots at skulls in sets of 3. And they respawn all the time. They're an absolute nuisance. And they like to respawn in areas you're trying to get to. Normally up there, or if you're trying to climb a ladder. We've got the dagger. Dagger is good. Now if you hold the fire button down, this one, it actually provides you with a shadow image of yourself. You get double daggers. And I think it's probably the only special that I know that you can actually use while moving. Everything else you're rooted to the spot. But this boss is difficult in other versions, it's easier in other versions. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big, sometimes it's slow or fast. This one's quite small, but its projectile is difficult to avoid due to its very bad hit detection. But can we do it first time? But the weakness is the head. We also can fire while jumping backwards. But it's very difficult to keep your armour intact. But we've got the key though. But yeah, time is bad. We do, of course, earn a bonus for finishing the stage. We get a grand total of 5,000 bonus. Okay, a quick go of level 2. But yeah, people have said that level 2 is easier than level 1. I don't know. I'm not so sure. It's very easy to get crushed by these tortoises. So because I lost my armour and then gained it back, I do lose the golden armour, where it's technically called. So we still keep the dagger, which of course is a good weapon. I mean, not all of them are good. My least favourite is the torch. I mean, it's strong, I'll give it that. But it's very short range. And it's stronger in other versions. It's better in other versions. Well, no surprise, I died, but I did reach the checkpoint before I died. Now, one good thing about it is you don't actually lose your weapons. So you've still got the dagger. I mean, if it's the torch, which is my least favourite weapon, I would like to lose that. But sometimes it's not easy to lose it. You don't always get the weapons when you want them, or when you need them. But we're doing well here. Got 2 lives, and time, of course, is there. And enemies are all over the place, but flying enemies are also very bad. But the first time I played this game was on the C64. It was either 88 or 1989, one of the two. In fact, it was actually this one, which was the Capcom Platinum Collection, which also featured LED Storm, Black Tiger, Strider, and Forgotten Worlds, basically on 3 separate discs. And 2 of the discs was a game on each side. Forgotten Worlds, I think, was on both sides. But yeah, also did have the house mix. But yeah, it was nice. It was a great addition to the collection. Right, boss battle. Now we have still got our weapon going, and amazingly, 2 lives intact. We do have 3 continues. But this one's not too bad, but of course you do have the flames not only on the boss itself, but also falling from the top. You can also shoot while in the air, and while crouching, of course jumping backwards. And that could be your lifesaver. Let me get another key. Great version though, difficult though, but more of the footage that is Ghouls and Ghosts. Right, we changed systems, we go to the C64, and quite recently I have actually finished Treasure Island Dizzy on the Amiga. In fact, I did it on a live stream completion, which took longer than I expected. There was one specific coin I couldn't find, it took me about 15 minutes to find it. But I can't recall if I've ever seen it or played it on the C64, but we're going to try. I'm a big fan of Dizzy games. Right, there we go, seeing it for the absolute first time. Commodore programmed by Ian Gray, designed by the Oliver Twins, graphics by Neil Adamson by Codemasters. Okay, so the game is a Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1999 by Codemasters for the Amstrad CPC and ZX Spectrum, which later ported to Commodore 64, NES, Amiga, Atari ST, and the Atari Jaguar. Treasure Island Dizzy is the second game in the Dizzy series, a sequel to Dizzy, the Ultimate Cartoon Adventure. The game was developed by the Oliver Twins, and the graphics was done by Neil Adamson, and music was done by David Whittaker. Although I think this one was done by Matt Gray. But yeah, so much is different, but not a good version. But right here, this doesn't feature on the Amiga version. There's actually a tube of toothpaste. Whether you need it or not, I assume not. I'm going to leave it behind. But quite a lot of Dizzy games, there were some misleading items. Items that are there just to mislead you. You think you need it, but it turns out you don't. But of course, it's more known to have a certain quantity of items you've got to pick up to get the game to 100%. which in this case is of course 30 coins. We've got 4 already, but there's one behind the clump of mushrooms. Pick up the up and put it back down again. But apart from the 4 coins, we are holding absolutely nothing, and here there should be 2 flying fish. One you've got to try and kill with a well-timed jump, which also is not here. What we have here though is a misty glass window, and behind that is our coin number 5. So once you've got the item, put the item down, we don't need it anymore. But the items you pick up is limited to 3, the order you pick them up is the order you put back down again. But like a bit dangerous, the traps are here. Even though there's not actually that many enemies on here, the traps are bound to feature. Getting hit by that or hitting by any limited enemies in this game is an instant kill. Over there is another coin, but we're going to take a straight leap of faith, jump to the other side, and then pick up our coin number 6. But yeah, you've got to be a bit more careful with these ones, because even being right on the edge is enough to be hit by it. But yeah, wherever you are in the game, getting hit by anything, lose your 1 additional life, and you go back to the start. But what we need is, of course, the snorkel. No snorkel, we can't go into the water anytime soon. And it's very easy to drop the snorkel in the water, which did loads back in the day. But we've got the rubber snorkel, and fall from a height, it's not an instant kill, but in some games it was. So take a big leap of faith to the other side, where we find another coin. Okay, this rock that we push over to the right hand side pretty much does the same thing as the 10-ton weight does in the Amiga version. It lowers the platform in the treetop, allowing to get up there. Right over there. So another big change. We've got 10 coins and also the snorkel. I actually put it onto the beach and left it there. That way our hands are now empty. Well, another thing that's well known in these games is to have items in the clouds. Well, this one, there isn't any clouds. Haven't seen any yet. And because there's no clouds, you can't find the pogo stick in the clouds. We have found coin number 11. And another one to the left, which we have a grand total of 12. And where we normally find the spade, there isn't a spade, it's actually a sharp glass sword, and close to that area is actually a camera or camcorder, one of the two. That I don't know what you need it for. That and also the glass sharp sword. So quite a few things which are a bit unsure at the moment of time. But there is our small video camera. Right, so here we are again. So now it's a case of picking things up in the order we need them. So we need the spade, we also do need the small video camera, and of course your important rubber snorkel. Under the sea we go. 17 coins so far, but yeah, the enemies, there's of course plenty of them here. Much larger in size and much faster in speed as well. So you use the spade to get a bubble, which allows us to get over to the right hand side where we find the shopkeeper. So we stand here and we use the spade, push down on fire, and there is our bubble. So be killed in the process. Okay, another thing I haven't seen is the magic rock, which is used for that totem pole. Right, we arrive at the shopkeeper, so we're going to talk to him. Suppose you want off this island, I'll swap you for a boat for something valuable. How about a camcorder, a video camcorder, a very old camcorder. That'll do nicely, thank you, here's the boat you need, take it to the pier, which is located on the right side of the playfield. So we've picked up another coin, got 21 so far. But yeah, it's really good, a really good version, but it seems a much shorter version, but I'm not actually that far away from it. I'm going to pick up the key, and I'm going to put down the dehydrated boat. So of course it's not done yet, and you need quite a lot of items to get off this island, but you can't go on it until it's finished. There's more footage though, that is Treasure Island Dizzy. Okay, we changed systems, this time on the PlayStation 1. This is a game I used to have back in the day. This is Time Shock. I bought it from Electronics Boutique, and I used to have all of them. I had also this one, Big Race USA, and Fantastic Journey, which I bought from a retro gaming market. I can't find it. Where is it? I've recently changed the setup here. Right, found it, there we go. I did buy Fantastic Journey at a retro gaming market, and all I need now is Big Race USA, which again I used to have, but I basically sold all 3 of them because it was released for the PlayStation 2, in fact it was one single disc, which I do regret. But anyway, 2 have been purchased, we need 1 more now, but there we go, give it a try. Again. Alright, so there we go, it's a fantasy game, a game I used to own. I bought it originally during my year at Academy College. Back then money was quite low, so I was trying to save money by trading in games or selling them, whatever the case may be. But I bought it again, Time Shock. This is something I forgot you could do on this game, but you go to the option screen, you actually activate the slideshow. So basically it's views of the table from different perspectives in a more zoomed in view. Really good, attention to detail is amazing. But yeah, paid quite a bit, all 3 of them I did, but unfortunately all 3 of them I sold. Okay, this game is Pro Pinball Time Shock. It's an action video game. It's developed by Cunning Developments, published by Empire Interactive for Microsoft Windows and the PlayStation. It's the second game in the Pro Pinball series and themed around the concept of time travel. The crowdfunded remake Pro People Time Shot Ultra Edition was released in 2015 for mobile devices and 2016 for computers. And it's absolutely superb. Its only problem, its only flaw was the fact there was actually 3 games all on one single disc. 1 table per game, which I had all 3 of them, but all 3 of them I sold, which I do regret. The reason why I sold it is basically due to the compilation I bought from Play.com, which is on the PlayStation 2, this one. It's called Ultimate Pro Pinball, which I had all 3 of them on one disc. So me being me at the time, I thought to myself, well, there's no point keeping all of them, let's sell the original 3 and keep the compilation. Which, back in the day, yes, it made sense, but I do regret it. All I need now is one more. It's a big race for the sale, it's really the big most people want to get hold of. But my problem is, I'm very picky when it comes to conditions. Even though I've seen this one twice at recent gaming markets on 2 separate occasions, the conditions weren't all that. So I decided to buy it on eBay. But it is good. I love the sound effects, I love the music, I love the attention to detail. But yeah, I've never been great at pinball games. I might have to keep a good go, but 9 out of 10 is a bad go. Right, time drive power, and on the left and right side we have the word scan. S and C on one side, A and N on the other. And if you like that, you get to go into the crystal. And that allows you to get more additional skills, modes, multipliers, that sort of thing. But also you can time travel, and also you can lock those balls. You'll try and lock 3 of them. When you do that, you activate multiple. So one more like that. Can we do it first time? No. No, but I tried. The scanner is ready though, jet's held. Moment of time, we've got a 2 times multiplier, but also you do have ball save, and also you do have a device which is called the Magno Save, which is activated when you press the triangle button. Basically, it's a magnet, and it's a way of saving your bacon, basically. But it's quite difficult, but you've got to be in the right place, which is, well, it's like there somewhere, one on each side. I'll try, it's that, but it's not going to work if the ball's not in that area. But you can earn that. Anyway, small points is better than nothing. Still trying to get this ball saved. And once you've got the time drive to 100%, you go to time travel, which again is in the crystal. Right, there we go. The inclusion of the time machine fixture on the table facilitates the game's time travel theme. At any one time, the player is in one of a handful of time zones, the main ones being the present day, the distant future, ancient Rome, and the prehistoric age. Completion of certain objectives allow the player to travel between time zones, although some are unlocked at first, by means of completing secondary objectives. Right, so now we've got multiple, but yeah, basically go for the arrows. Go for the arrows for the greatest score and the greatest rewards. But now the ball save is now active. So basically you have 3 goes, 3 balls. But if you're doing novice mode, it's basically 1 ball, but you have a time limit. Basically the ball save is on for about 130 seconds, something like that. But you can earn more along the way, of course, depending on your greatest score. Well, there we go. It's crazy. Sometimes have a bad go, which is 9 times out of 10 the case, but this has actually turned out to be quite a decent go. I have got 226,993,060.
Nice.
That is nice. Look at this. It's going very well this time. I actually gained an extra ball on that one. However, the last one was atrocious, but that is still a good score, which is very rare for me. It won't be the top score, but a high score nevertheless. There you go. Right, all-time high scores. It's not the top score. It might be number 3. There it is. 369,217,630. Delighted with that. One of which is, that is Time Shock. Now, there is one more PS1 game still waiting to arrive. I bought it ages ago, and I don't know why it's taking so long. Yes, it is technically coming from Italy, but it's taking a long time to arrive from Italy. I bought it on the 11th, now it's the 25th. But we'll leave this one a try. This is, of course, another remaster, this time on the PlayStation 5. This is Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. Still sealed, haven't opened it yet, but we'll give it a try. New and returning players will enjoy Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster's upgraded gameplay, high resolution textures, enhanced lighting and rendering, and support for gamepads. Right, there we go, brand new game. Amazing. It took about a minute to install. It's crazy. One thing that amazed me with the PlayStation 5 is indeed just that. But it's done. Right, there we go. Sounds fantastic. The biggest question in a game of blood money is, where's the money? The question is here, am I going to get copyrighted from YouTube? Also, to have it on the PlayStation 1, it's superb, but I've never finished it. Of course, it's best to play with a keyboard and mouse. Okay, so the game is Star Wars Dark Forces, the first-person shooter video game, developed and published by LucasArts, first released for MS-DOS and Macintosh in 1995, then for the PlayStation 1 in 1996. The story is set in the Star Wars universe, which begins shortly before the original Star Wars film, before flashing forward to a year after the film's events. And this is another fantastic remaster. I mean, look how smooth it is, but yes, the ultimate way is using keyboard and mouse, and back in the day, yes, we did do that. Even though our PC we had was struggling with most games we threw in, but Occasional 1 did perform very well, Doom 2 was okay, Rise of Trial was okay, and quite surprisingly, X-Wing performed very well. But Dark Forces my brother bought, and this one did struggle. And because it struggled so badly, and it took some time to get it working, there wasn't many levels we saw, not many weapons we saw. So we shoot with the R2 button, and also we use circle to open doors, X is your jump button, and also we do actually have a flashlight or headlight which is square. You don't recall that back in the day. But yeah, there are a few situations where it can be a bit on the dark side, so you will need your headlights. See what I did there? But yeah, if you press the start button, we see our mission objective. This is a secret Imperial base. We've got to finally retrieve Death Star plans and return to the ship on the roof of the base. And of course, like other games, there's going to be so many secrets. But really good. Superb. Upon release, the PC Macintosh version of the game received generally favourable reviews from critics, who praised its level design and technological advances through the PlayStation version, was criticised for having poor graphics and slow frame rates. The game also did well financially, selling almost 1 million copies in the United States by 1999. The game's success launched the Star Wars Jedi Knight series, beginning with a direct sequel to Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 in 1997. Which I don't think I've actually played. Now there should be a key up here, probably picked it up already, we're not realising it, but yeah, we're going to use that very soon. But yeah, so good, 15 energy units, so now we're going to try and head back. Alright, fantastic. But yeah, it ends by basically finding the spaceship at the end, which takes you to the next stage. But yeah, the first levels are very short, but they're going to be very confusing. But yes, you do indeed have a map, and do forget games like this do have maps. Still trying to find its exits. Each mission includes specific objectives related to the story. The missions take place in a variety of environments across the Star Wars universe, including the Star Destroyer interior, Jabba the Hutt yacht, and planet Coruscant, where the player must infiltrate a computer vault. Anyway, we're going to keep the footage very short and brief for this one because, of course, we want to try and keep YouTube happy. Right. Once again, the attention to detail is just fantastic, but yeah, the good old Death Star plans. And of course, Darth Vader up his usual tricks. But yeah, it looks so good. And of course, the cutscenes were amazing back then, they're going to be even better now. But that is where we need to head to now. There we go.
This is too easy. Now to get to my ship.
Exactly, but it should be around here somewhere. Right, so circle to activate switches and open doors. So, last hurrah of Starship Troopers. Mission accomplished, so it should say, yep, secrets are 14. Well, so many secrets to find. I didn't realise there'd be quite as many as that. Hope it made me to end the mission. So yeah, fantastic. What a footage is, that is Dark Forces Remastered. Okay, I'm going to fast forward into the future. This is why today, I ordered it ages ago. The video itself, this video, I started editing on Saturday. Now it's Thursday, I was planning to upload it yesterday, so it didn't quite go according to plan. But this is a game which I used to own back in the day. I traded it in once again, like Time Shot, one of those ones I regretted selling. It's been a long time since I last played it. So there we go, I bought myself a physical version, again, of NBA Live 98 on the PlayStation 1. But when I traded it in back in the day, I needed the money desperately. But I bought it originally, I think, from Woolworths. And it was also the first basketball game I bought and the first one I played at home. But yeah, it's really good. So, it took me ages to find it again. I'm very pleased. There we go.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Right, so there we go. Now, I haven't played this for about 20 years, but in terms of other ones in the series, this was the only one I bought. The one I played.
Hi, sports fans, and welcome to Dallas for tonight's exhibition game between the New York Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, here are the starting lineups for both teams.
Hello and welcome to our TBS broadcast. I'm Vern Lundquist.
Okay, so the game's NBA Live 98. It's a basketball video game based on the National Basketball Association and the fourth installment of NBA Live series.
Pass to number 55.
The game was published in 1997 by EA Sports for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, also being the final NBA Live game released for SNES, Sega Genesis and the Sega Saturn.
Inbound pass to number 20.
And it's superb, like I say, it's been about 20 years since I last played it. But I'm basically doing the same thing here as I did back then. Creating my own player, there he is, number 55. So in the old days, I never really sort of supported anyone. My brother did like the Charlotte Hornets. Bear in mind, I didn't really sort of fully understand the rules. I know you've got to try and put the ball in the hoop. A bit more to it than that.
Number 14 grabs it.
But a couple of years ago, someone I worked with basically said to me, and he's a fan of New York Knicks, he said to me, Jamie, we get you a team support. So I said, sure. So he did this sort of random team generator on his phone.
With the dunk.
Spun the wheel, and the Dallas Mavericks came out on top. So since then, that is the team I've been supporting. Bear in mind, I don't know a lot about the team anyway, but that's who I support. And they're winning here, 6-4. This, of course, is the first quarter.
Remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, it plays very, very well, but yeah, I put it low. Didn't we sort of play any seasons or anything like that? Just the occasional game from time to time. But having
the shot.
Create your player was a nice touch.
Inbound
love to use it as well.
Short pass to number 55.
So far, my player is doing fairly good.
Number 55 tries the 3.
I think we sort of do this back in the old days. If you hold the L1 button down, basically a symbol will appear above your player's head.
Finley with the steal.
So we'll go to triangle, being my player.
To number 55. Number 55 makes the reverse jam.
A reverse jam. So yeah, it's a nice touch. It works really well. Normally, it's just one button to pass whoever's nearby. But it's nice to have a bit more choice.
Number 55 gets it.
Just showing off now. 34.3 remains in the second quarter. 36-20.
Inbound pass to Houston.
Yeah, quick question to the viewers. What was your first and your most played basketball game? PlayStation 1, it was this. PlayStation 2 is NBA Street.
At the conclusion of the game, the Mavericks have cruised to victory over the Knicks, 54-31.
There we go, final score 54-31. Another thing I used to do back in the day also was this, the 3-point challenge. Rule simple. You either against another player or against a computer, use a limited amount of time to score as much as you possibly can. R1 to pick up the ball and then hold down X as long as it needs to be held down for to score the 3-pointer. Not too bad, but I'm out of time. I'm fairly happy with that. 22. There we go. Water footage, NBA Live 98. Right, another one I bought on Amiga, which I totally forgot I bought. This is Emin Hughes International Soccer. What I'll probably do is I'll picture this one on the Patreon screen. And this one's got his video price tag on there of $24.99 by Audiogenic. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this game also feature on Super League Manager, which I've got up there, which, when it comes to management games, I'm not very good at. But I do like playing football games, even though I'm not a huge fan anymore of football. Bursting with high-speed arcade action, Emin Hughes International Soccer offers the most realistic gameplay ever seen on our home computer. No wonder Commodore Computing voted it best C64 game of the year. Okay, well, there's more footage. Sorry I'm not uploading quite as often as I was, but we'll get back to that. But so much going on at the moment of time, and work is very up and down, trying to save some money. But that's what I bought in the last 2 or 3 months. I'm very happy with my purchases. It's Jamie Fuller's Games. Hope you catch the next one. Take it easy. Ciao, bye. See ya. Okay, so the game is Trolls. Trolls, a doll. Okay, so the game is Ghouls and Goes. It's a 1988 platform game. It's published by Capcom for arcades. It's a sequel to 1985's Ghouls and Goblins. Okay, so the game is Ghouls and Ghouls and Ghosts. I get it wrong every time. Okay, so the game is Ghouls and Ghosts. It's a 1988 platform game. It's published by Capcom. This is weird. I mean, the game's difficult enough. It's kind of weird at the same time. It's impossible. The game was developed by the Oliver Twins, with graphic being designed by Neil Adamson, and music done by David Whittaker. Is that right? Okay, this game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters for the Atari. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters for Atari ST. No. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters for Atari 8-bit. We'll get it right in a minute. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game and developed by 1989, I'm going to say there. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters of Atari CPC. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters of Atari CPC. Atari CPC, that's a new one. The Atari CPC. Okay, so the game is Treasure Island Dizzy. It's a puzzle video game published in 1989 by Codemasters for Amstrad CPC and Atari Jaguar. Okay, so the game is a Pro Pinball Time Shock. It's an action video game developed by Cunning Developments and published by Empire Interactive for the PlayStation.
I'm Vern Lundquist.
Okay, so the game is NBA Live 98. It's a basketball video game based on National Basketball Association and the
Possession
fourth
goes to
installment
the
of
Knicks.
NBA Live series. The game is published in EA Sports by The game is published by EA Sports.